Founders Metals is a gold exploration company in southeastern Suriname. Suriname's a small country in the northwest part of South America. Pretty small place, 650,000 people, but really well-known jurisdiction for gold exploration. And there's been a lot of, I think, interest in that area recently, and I think we've been a big part of generating that news. But in the region as a whole, there's been a lot of new M&A activity. There's been a lot of big discoveries, and there's opportunity for a lot of really big discoveries to come in the future, of which we're starting to shape up to. We may be one of those. And 2023, we got rolling in June with drills, purchased our own on the ground at 10,000 meters. 2024 was just over 43,000 meters. We're now turning with 4 of our own drills, full crew, full service exploration crew, with a fully funded plan, and to do 60,000 meters this year. Made a couple of pretty impressive brand new discoveries last year, with some pretty significant scale to them. And we've taken, what was some early exploration work by a previous operator in kind of mid 2000s, say a couple hundred meters, 300 or 400 meters of strike, and turn that into 1.6 kilometers of gold mineralization, very high grade gold mineralization, higher than the average in the Guyana Shield as a whole. And now we've got these parallel structures that are really growing that into something serious. So, that's a nutshell.
Yeah, well, it is, obviously, anybody who's followed along, go check the headline numbers. It is impressive and exciting and incredible, those sort of stories that people come to the sector for, right? This is the allure of the sector. And so obviously, as a current shareholder or the current shareholders out there, very happy times. I think you guys were around 30 cents when you grabbed that project, and I think did you get $6 there a couple days back?
$5.97 was
so close, eh? So for almost a 20 bagger, right? But the question naturally is the ultimate show me sector, right? Why is 2025, and you kind of reference this with the meterage you have planned, but why would people new to the story now still see this as an opportunity to see those asymmetrical gains this sector is known for?
Yeah, there's 2 parts to that. So one of them is that we've de-risked the project quite a lot. We drilled a lot of meters, we defined a lot of ounces, a lot of gold in the ground. And so, there's some level of de-risking that comes with that. So we've got that base behind us. But I think the value that we have today, and I think the potential for going forward, it really comes from the exploration side of the story. And it's by no means are we, at the top of that curve. It's really just getting going. We took the Upper Antino stuff, used that as our natural laboratory, as Pascal likes to call it, and I quite like that. And use what we learned there, applying it elsewhere on the property to make new discoveries. And we've now, I'd say with some of the work we did at Voegeli, certainly Lower Antino, and then now this Da Vinci target that we've released first results out just for the holidays, it shows that we understand and can apply that. And when we look at the 200 square kilometers that we have, there are so many more of these targets out there, 10, 12 of them that we see that meet these same criteria. And we're in a very fortunate position to have the dollars in the bank, the drills of our own, and the flexibility that comes with that to be able to actually get out there, drill, and test these things. And what's going to drive our value this year is going to be exploration, new discoveries, and continued growth of the existing things that we know about.
So all of our past exploration was very much at figuring out, what were the key controls of mineralization, what are the characteristics that define, one of these fantastic gold deposits. And really, only about 10% of the properties seen exploration. So about 80% of our work has been done in traditional areas like Upper Antino, Lower Antino, Voegeli. But I think the big thing to communicate here is that's actually a very small part of the concession. So that was kind of the laboratory where we figured out what were the key aspects of mineralization. And now we're finally at a place where we have the scale, we have the money in the bank that we can really bring the rest of the concession to scale. And we found about 10 to 15 targets that share those same characteristics. So I think this year really is going to be a year of discovery. And, we focused on the next, 8 to 12 months will be entirely kind of proving that proof of concept. And, before, a lot of the area, everyone kind of thought Froyo, Upper Antino was it. But now the question is, not so much how big is Froyo, it's how many froyos are there? So now we're kind of moving towards being able to define more areas and show where the kind of center of gravity is on the project. And I think there's going to be tremendous upside and a lot of real potential to grow up on that.
It's been good, eh?
We know, I know.
It's all okay. So he's going to do that in Sappers, you know, inspired in the sheeper and some young. He's hot. Thank you.
Okay, so it's January 20th, so that's day 2 of VRIC and day 1 of Roundup, and I haven't quite made my way over to Roundup yet, but I'm here with Ian Fraser. If you follow me, you know Ian, but I'll just get Ian to just introduce yourself to people that might not know you yet and who you are and the company you work for, and maybe just give us your best elevator pitch.
All right. Well, thank you, Matthew. Ian Fraser. I'm the CEO and VP of Exploration of Fathom Nickel Inc. We are a nickel-focused company exploring for magmatic nickel deposits in the province of Saskatchewan. 2 historic projects in particular, the Rottenstone Mine, producer in the mid-60s, and Go-Sugar Lake, which has a historic resource defined in the mid-1960s, and we're demonstrating that both of them are wide open for expansion and looking forward to getting at it, as well we have been, but continuing the search.
Absolutely. So then, the natural follow-up is 2025. What's the news flow, or what are the potential catalysts that people can look forward to for why 2025 is a compelling year for Fathom?
Well, on a macro scale, I mean, nickel's turned into a bit of a 4-letter word here the last little while, and I think things will change. We've already seen an appreciation in the price here in 2025, and I think with the Indonesians cutting back with their output, recognizing that prices are depressed, there's motions afoot that they will knock back their production, and I think that will spur some prices. And importantly, I don't think it gets emphasized enough that we need these types of deposits in North America. And there's a real need for these types of deposits in North America, and we plan to demonstrate that. Yeah.
First off, great to be here. And secondly, we are a uranium exploration company with assets in the prolific Athabasca Basin in Saskatchewan, Canada. That's home to the highest grade and largest uranium mines in the world. We are a somewhat newer story. 2024 was really the first time we started actively exploring and drilling for uranium, but we're a team with really a track record of success, specifically in the Athabasca Basin through discovery, with our past stops at companies like Denison, NextGen. Our whole team was part of the ISO Energy discovery, where we took that company from 30 cents to $6.50, really in a terrible uranium market, actually. But just goes to show that if you are able to make these discoveries, the kind of returns and valuations you can have. And most recently with us is that we've just completed a deal with Denison Mines. We've acquired 3 projects from them, 70% interest in those projects. They're maintaining 30%. We've become joint venture partners on those projects. Denison is now a 19.9% shareholder of us. They're really kind of becoming part of the team. They've put up their hand to participate a minimum of $1 billion in our next financing. So really having that lead order and that support for when we need to tap the market is huge. And we've really acquired 3 terrific projects in familiar areas for us in the Athabasca Basin. And so really it's a transformational transaction for us. I know that's a bit of an overused word, but it really was for us because we do have that $2 billion partner now really backing us as we continue to explore the Athabasca Basin, really kind of validating what we're doing there. And when you mix that in with our history, kind of creates this perfect storm, I'd say, of really creating kind of a go-to exploration company.
Yeah.
I actually worked 9 years at Denison, so I'm very familiar with the company. I was very familiar with these projects we got. A few other members of our team also previously worked at Denison before we went on to ISO. So there's a very familiarity there, and they understand that our goal is discovery. We put the dollars in the ground. We're a group that's really created value in the past with significant discoveries while we were at Denison, but also while we were at ISO Energy. And so it's kind of that perfect coming together where they had projects they weren't going to get to. They're not giving up on these projects. They're maintaining 30% interest. They're, maintaining a corporate level interest in us, where they become our largest, most shareholder. And they saw a group like us that can really advance them. And they understand, right? They're busy trying to get Phoenix into production. Once they do that, they're going to be looking for that pipeline of the next level of production. And they're going to need groups making discoveries, and they're looking to us to really add to that pipeline.
Excellent.
So we're going to be actively drilling one of the projects that we got from Denison. Should be starting here in February. It's Murphy Lake North. It's conveniently within 4 kilometers of the Hurricane deposit, which is the highest grade indicated resource for uranium in the world. Conveniently, our team found that when we worked at ISO in 2018. So we're kind of going back to our own backyard in that area. And so we'll be exploring that right away here, getting drilling. Important thing with us is that we really try and create our own value. The tailwinds in the uranium space are fantastic. That's obviously going to help us along the way. But we're a group that has, created value in the uranium market and support, and that's through the drill bit. And so the biggest catalyst for us is drilling, and we will be drilling here in February, a long trend of a deposit that we found in 2018. So that is our biggest upcoming news flow. We'll also be working some of the other projects later in the summer. The most important thing right now is us getting to Murphy Lake North here in February and starting drill.
We have in northwest Mexico the Santo Tomas project. That's porphyry copper, plus 5 billion pounds of copper at about 0.38% in an open pit with a very, very low strip ratio, owing to the location of the ore body outcropping at surface and exposed on a hillside, delivering a very, very low strip ratio. So we spent the period since the beginning of COVID through to August last year preparing a PEA. And what we've demonstrated on the project is a very, very competitive capital situation, $1.1 billion, taking us to 80,000 ton of copper a year production immediately, and then averaging 100,000 ton of copper a year over a 22-year mine life. Very, very compelling economics, and Oroco owns and controls that project. And as the company has zero debt, and we're preparing for a phase 2 program, which will essentially add a little drilling, raise the amount of material that is in the indicated category, and get the project ready for a major transaction. So we're primed to move forward into what hopefully will be the last technical stage for the project as managed by Oroco. So really looking forward to getting that going, and the previous work has established a very, very strong social base in the district. Our partner in the project is Choiks based and has been there for a decade. And we have a very, very strong social presence. I myself and my wife lived down in the project town for the duration of COVID, built a technical team there. When we couldn't get people to come from all over the world, we grew that team in place in Choiks with domestic, well-trained people, and we're absolutely thrilled to have a team of world-class caliber ready to move this very strong and world-class porphyry copper deposit forward through the next stage and into the development. We're a very strong investment because we have essentially de-risked the technical aspects of the project. We've demonstrated that a mine can be built. We're in the headwinds of some perception that Mexico might have some permitting challenges, and we're certainly working through that with government, both local in the state and at the federal level. But we see that moving aside. We're quite convinced of that, and we have very, very strong indications that that will occur. And so we're poised to do the phase 2 work, raise some of the material into the indicated category, and have the project ready for a major transaction. And our view on that is 2025 should get most of that work completed, and we should be in a fantastic situation in early 2026. That's our prognosis and the basis of all our plans.
So it is January 20th, day 2 of VRIC, but that's in the past for me. I'm over here on the floor of Roundup now, and I'm sitting here with Claudia Tornquist. And Claudia, maybe I'll just get you to just introduce yourself and your company and give us the elevator pitch for Kodiak Copper, if you don't mind.
So I'm Claudia Tornquist, President CEO of Kodiak Copper. We're a copper exploration company founded by Chris Taylor of Great Bear fame, who's also the chairman of the company. And we are focused on the MPD copper porphyry project, copper gold porphyry, in southern British Columbia, in a mining district between two big copper mines, Copper Mountain, Hut Bay's mine, and then Teck's Highland Valley mine. So we're right more or less in the middle between those. great region, lots of infrastructure. And we have been drilling systematically. Our MPD project have now demonstrated or drilled 10 zones of mineralization and really sort of added scale over the years. And this year is a very important year for us. We have just announced that we will be coming out with a resource estimate for the project. So major milestone and catalyst for the company. Well, we've now, since we started in 2019, drilled 85,000 meters, so a significant amount of drilling. Our original discovery was the gate zone, which we have drilled out systematically, nice, high-grade, large porphyry center. And we have many more mineralized zones on the property, many of them historically drilled. And so over the last 2 years, we have drilled a number of those, and we have now in total 10 drill-proven zones of mineralization. And of those, 7 are considered for a resource. Some of them actually will be merged into one, like of those 10, 9 actually are part of the resource work. So yeah, we will have multiple zones, and our vision for MPD has always been that it has the potential to become a major mine. And we've always said from the start, we will be drilling until we can deliver a resource that really reflects the potential of the project. And we're now confident that we are at that stage, that we do have the scale to come out with a resource that does MPD justice. And so it's a very exciting and important year for the company.
My name is Mike Stark. I am the CEO of Arizona Gold and Silver, and we're currently have a 2-rig program underway. We were recently financed with Sprott and with Rick Rule in October. It's the largest raise we've done to date, and that was done in October, and the rigs have been turning since November. We see the rigs turning well into March, April. At this point, with what we're seeing, we're very, very pleased. Very fortunately, in January of 2024, last year, our patented property owner discovered an attic that's been buried for over 115 years. As a result of that, it allowed Greg, my VP of operations, to actually enter the attic, walk to the very end, 126 feet deep, and see the internal workings of a thrust of a system, which they mined. They obviously went and pick and shovel, they mined it. Now we get to see the inside of it, and it really helped us coordinate where the next holes were going to go on the ground called the Rising Fawn. All that core is on the display, and everybody seems to be really excited about it. And I'm glad to see that, because we are too. But now we're actually looking at designing another possible area where it has not been drilled before. It's a little bit of a gap left. And this will then complete 1.6 kilometers of continuous drilling, continuous mineralization, and we have another 1.5 kilometers beyond that still not explored. So we are, I would have to say, entering an era now where we're going to start be able to do a close to time do a 43-101, and we have a bulk tonnage situation on our hands at the very south end. It's called the Red Hills, and we're finally got a permit after 2 years, so we've got a 40-hole program starting there. So this is a really good time for Arizona Gold and Silver. The importance that I've always maintained is a company should be having constant news flow. We've got that now. We've got about 5 months of news coming on just drilling. There will be other things that we'll be introducing to the market as well, but the priority is let's get some results out, give a little bit more traction. We've got one of the most beautiful structures out there, 93 million shares, very, very tightly held. So it can go up and it can go down very quickly, but we're hoping that it's going to go up here with these results. I mean, I'm expecting to see some enthusiasm behind what we're doing. We do have several CIs signed on the company, and that tells me we're doing something right. I mean, there's very good companies having a look at this jurisdiction. This region is completely unexplored as far as I'm concerned, and many other geologists are now saying the same. It's not been explored with what the potential is here. This area has developed 2 million ounces, and yet there's so much unexplored. We have 2,400 acres, and we've only looked at 75. So just on scale, we've got a lot more to see.
Gold to the bottom. That's how you mine gold, guys. Well done. That's excellent mining. You, sir, you're looking that way, not over here. Everybody stop. Watch this young lady here. Guys, we go slow. Watch how slow she goes.
Mike Burke with Sitka Gold, VP Corporate Development. My background, I'm a geologist. I've worked in the Yukon most of my career, so joined Sitka Gold about 3 years ago. It's a reduced intrusion-related gold deposit that we've discovered up in the Yukon in the Tombstone Gold Belt. It's the same belt of rocks that hosts the Fort Knox mine in Alaska, the Eagle mine in the Yukon, Banyan Gold's deposit, and a very exciting recent discovery, Snowline Gold out in the Valley deposit. Well, these are all hosted in the same age rocks, and we've made a discovery in the western part of the belt close to Dawson City. We access our property by flying to Dawson. You can land a jet there. Then it's a 2-hour drive into the property. So very well located, great infrastructure, power line about 35 kilometers away. Been working on the property since about 2018 when it was first acquired. Made a discovery there, announced initial resource after some drilling in January of 2023. 2 deposits, about 1.34 million ounces, 900,000 ounces in a higher grade deposit called the Blackjack at a grade of 0.83. Since then, we've done a couple more seasons of drilling. We've continued to have really good success focused on that higher grade deposit, the Blackjack. And just recently, we announced an updated resource based on that additional 2 years of drilling. So we've grown the deposit. It's now about just under 1.3 million ounces in the indicated category. So that's a category that has a higher confidence because the drill hole spacing is smaller. That's at a grade of 1.01 grams per ton. And inferred, so the area around it that still have good confidence in it, it's about 1 million ounces at a grade of 0.94. So we've increased the size and the grade has gotten better. So we're really pleased with the results at Blackjack. We've also drilled other areas. So we've got 2 new discoveries to the south of the deposits that we found that we made just in this last year. So we've got a lot of work to follow up on them and hope to grow those into deposits as well. Yeah, we've been successful in financing. We have $15 million. So a lot of people are excited to see us move on and keep growing this resource. So 30,000 meters of drilling. That's 3 drill rigs. And we're going to drill the Blackjack deposit that I spoke of, the deposit that we've upgraded. We still haven't defined the limits of that. So we're going to continue drilling on that, as well as the Eiger deposit is our other deposit. We haven't drilled on that since its discovery. So that Blackjack to Eiger area, we're going to do about 15,000 meters of drilling there. And then, as I mentioned, we have 2 additional discoveries that we drilled this year. One is called the Rosgobble intrusion, and we have 10,000 meters planned for that. That had a discovery drill hole that hit a gram per ton over 100 meters with 40 meters of 2 grams. So exciting discovery there. So we're gonna do, 1 rig will be down there, 10,000 meters. And then intervening in there is this Pukaman intrusion. The Blackjack is about 2 kilometers north of the Pukaman, and the Rosgobble is about 5 kilometers south of there. So they're kind of in a linear band. So yeah, the Pukaman, we made a discovery there, as I mentioned, a little lower grade, but we didn't drill the most ideal part of the intrusion, but we drilled where we could on the road. It was the last 2 holes of the season. But we hit 350 meters of 0.3 grams with some 1 gram intervals, sub-intervals in that. So exciting. And we've got about 5,000 meters planned there. So you add her all up and we get 30. And as I mentioned, we're financed. We have $15 million. Typically, our cost of drilling historically with one rig has been around $350 a meter. So with a larger program, we should bring those costs down and be able to, get this project done. And at the end of the day, our goal is to continue increasing the size of the known deposits, Blackjack and Eiger, and then, of course, hoping to be able to do enough drilling to start defining initial resources at these other discoveries we have.
Absolutely.